actually wanted to start with singing the Lord's Prayer. This is a melody that I heard, and I said, oh, this will fit, because I always wanted to have a way that would be easy to remember the prayer. And I know that when we sing, we can remember words much more easily than just memorizing words. If people have a brain injury, they can learn to speak again by singing. It's a way to integrate all parts of ourselves. Abun de Boashemaya, Abun de Boashemaya, Ni Tekedash Shema, Ni Tekedash Shema, Titi Makuta, Nehwit Seviana, Aikana de Boashemaya of Ba'arha, of Lan Lachma, de Sunkanan Yamana, Wash Buklan Haben, Wash Buklan Wachtahen, I cannot of Hanan, Shabukan Hayabin, I cannot of Hanan, Shabukan Hayabin, Wilatalan El Nisiona, Wilatalan El Nisiona, Wilapautzan Min Bisha, Wilapautzan Min Bisha, Metal Lilaki Malkuta, Uhaila Utishbukta, Elalam Amin. Amen. Amen. So I was inspired to speak on this prayer today because I just finished taking an online class with Neil Douglas Klotz, who people might know. He's world famous in his spiritual understanding of Aramaic and other Middle Eastern languages and spiritual practices. He's mostly aligned with being a practicing Sufi, which I learned, I always thought it was a kind of mystical branch of Islam, which never really made sense to me. And what he said, actually, it is an ongoing continuation of many thousands of years of a mystical tradition from the Middle East that Yeshua was part of. Those of you who know me, I use his Aramaic name. Yah refers to God, as in Jehovah, Yahweh, and Shua means restores. So God restores the consciousness of humanity to our alignment with God. That's so the vibration of his name is powerful. So Avun means Father, Mother, God. He used masculine imagery often because that was his culture. And if he stepped way too far and taught what he had learned in Kashmir and Tibet, people would have, completely freaked out. So he tried to put it in language that people could receive at least some of his awareness. He has communicated through many people that he did, in fact, spend at least 2 years in studying with Hindu yogis. And anybody who has studied Hinduism or Buddhism can see very clearly the connection in his teachings. So Avun, I spontaneously was given, I guess you would say, this body prayer that I'd like to share with you of very simple, the left hand down and the right hand up, receiving energy from Mother Earth with the left hand, which is the receptive side of the body, and receiving energy from the spiritual realms over our heads. Of course, it's everywhere. And then bringing these two energies together into the heart in a kind of yin yang, and then spreading it out into the world. And what is interesting is that Neil also shared this very same prayer that he also clearly had been given, the same Abun, connecting in the heart, the Bwashamaya, which is creation. So Shem is so everything's perfect. The sparkle and shine. Shem means the vibrational energy of the light of God. So if you have studied the Vedas, these mystical ancient texts that say creation is vibration. It is a vibrational emanation from the heart mind of God. So today's word, right on track. So the Shem is the shimmering light of God, and Maya means the great shimmering light of God. So we start the prayer by aligning ourselves with the divine and also with all of creation, which includes the non-physical realms, of which there are many more than what appears to be the physical realm. So the first part of this prayer is establishing our awareness of our connection to the divine. We, of course, are always connected, but this is creating an awareness of that. So the second line is Nitikedash Shema, which is, there's the word Shem in it again, Shema. It's clearing off the surface of whatever junk is on your heart at that particular moment, so that your heart becomes an altar, you might say, in which the human and the divine join. Mm-hmm. So that I have often in meditations or in my channeling experiences had a strong sensation of burning in the heart, and this very clear awareness that the Christ consciousness lives in the body, in the heart. The intellect is a servant of the heart. The West has gotten very lost in thinking that the intellect is a leader, and it is just a follower. It does whatever we believe. It doesn't have any intrinsic wisdom of its own. So the wisdom of the Christ consciousness resides here, and then the intellect is a servant of the wisdom of God in the heart. And in Buddhism, the word for heart that's used literally means heart-mind. It's one word. So I tend to use heart because in the West, we think of mind as intellect. But when our principles or the Buddha says everything arises in the mind, that's in the heart-mind, what you believe and feel. What you feel is really what you extend. And it's also in the heart where you receive back what it is that you have extended out there. Okay. Te Malkuta. Te is the Aramaic word for come. So by saying te, Yeshua is saying, really come. Malkuta is a feminine word that means queendom, translated by the white men as kingdom. It actually means queendom. It means the atmosphere that is created when your consciousness is what is the only thing that is manifesting. Yes.
I just wondering, is this the part of the Lord's Prayer that we know is thy kingdom come, thy will be done?
This is thy kingdom come.
Okay.
Te Malkuta. Come, your queendom. The ach at the end is your. That possessive is added on to the end. So that's a fairly direct translation, that line. Some of the other translations are a little off base. The next line, Nehwe Tsevyana Aikanad Washmaya of Ba'arha. So aikana is a preposition, but it's a powerful one that means both and that includes inside and outside, now and the past and the future. It's an awareness of the unity of everything. So aikana is everything together. And the word af is an emphasis word. So aikana debashmaya, you heard that word in the first line. Abun debashmaya. So aikana debashmaya af ba'arha. So also everything from heaven, even on the earth. So it's a very strong, energetic statement. And sadhyanah is your will. The ach at the end is your will. May your will express both and as heaven and earth without any distinction. So the second part of the prayer is, now that we've established our relationship with the divine, how do we live that? How do you do that on a moment by moment basis? Havlan lachma desun kanan yamana. You know, sometimes different lines feel important to me, and this one is really standing out lately. So this is give us today our daily bread. So lachma means bread, but it also means wisdom. So it means please, and he's saying ask, ask and it'll be given to you. Ask for food, ask for nurturing, ask for what you need. But the sun kanan yamana, for what we need in the circle of our life now, our daily life, not more. So it's also a caution against hoarding. Only ask for what you need and it will be given to you. So it's an affirmation statement. I am declaring that I know that the divine gives me what I need because I have just now, I'm feeling weepy. I have just now aligned myself with God consciousness. So of course I'm going to be given what I need in my daily life. Wash woklan haubin, wachtahin. So haubin, I might have gotten haubin and chatahin mixed up, but one is from the Gospel of Matthew and one is from the Gospel of Luke. And I'm sure that when Yeshua taught this prayer, he mixed it up and said different words at different times. We all say what's on our heart and it comes out differently. So one of them, I think it is halbein, means knots. Buddhism talks a lot about the consciousness being in knots and that our practice is to disentangle the knots. So it's about releasing the things that tangle us up in our own minds and in our relationships with other people. And chatahin is very interesting. It's translated as trespass. It's very clear to me that what he's intending is the experience of having boundaries crossed, and that produces resentments. You cross my boundary, and so I hold on to a resentment towards you. And the what at the beginning just means and. They smush and with the words of wachtahin and chatahin. So I am asking, could I receive your help in disentangling the things that I've tied myself up in knots with other people, and may I let go of my resentments towards other people. But he's very clear that whatever judgments we hold on to is what keeps us small, believing we're small. And so the idea of forgiveness is really about letting go of judgment and knowing that everything is a unified Shem, everything is a unified shimmering light, and judgment just produces separation. And that's all it does, and suffering. Kana, there's that word again, both and, inside, outside, everything together. Daf, really. Hanan shabukan el chaybein, just as we forgive others. So the first one is, please help me release my own internal knots, just as daf, I am really doing the same thing in my relationships with others. Use that wa sound, voila, and talan el misiona. Please do not let us fall into el misiona, which is the illusion. Forgetfulness is a very clear translation from Aramaic, also from the Greek. So temptation is a mistranslation. And do not lead us is also a mistranslation. Apparently the Pope even caught that recently and said, it's not God leading us into temptation, it's asking God's support to not let us fall into forgetfulness. Don't let us fall into forgetfulness. And forgetfulness that we are the Shem, the shimmering light of Shemaiah. We are that. And the illusion is the illusion of separation. Don't let us fall into the illusion of separation. And the wela again, and by the way, also kautsan min bisha. Bisha is mistranslated as evil. It actually is, the word means unripeness and lack of being ripe. It's a Middle Eastern concept of everything is part of the natural world, and the ripe moment is when you harvest the fruit. And if you take action before the fruit is harvested, you can't do anything with it, and you've destroyed your crop because you took it too early. And if you wait until the moment is past, then the food is ruined. So this is a statement of, help me listen to your guidance so I know when to act. When is the right moment to not do anything because it's too early, or to have the courage to do something so the moment doesn't pass me by and I've missed it. So you could think of the errors in human action as a lot of unripeness, pushing things, trying to make things happen before it's ripe, not having the courage, and having regrets. If only I had. That's unripeness. So this is a statement of, God, I am aligning myself with your will so that I will know when to act and when not to act, and in what way. That's pretty different than deliver us from evil, just saying. And the last lines are just beautiful affirmation of the word amen. I learned from Neil Douglas Klotz, is an extremely ancient word with origins in ancient Egyptian. And it has the quality of being grounded. This is the ground on which I stand. I stand by these words. It's like an oath that you put into the earth. Amen. So metal dilaki malkuta, there's that word, you know it by now, the queendom. Wahaila hai, as if you know Hebrew, hai is life. So life, and so and this is a pretty good translation. Yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. But there's a much more richness to this. The queendom and the life force and the creative fire, and it has a quality of a circle, of a gathering. So the Wachish Bokta is saying, in this gathering, we have stated this prayer, and we're bringing this gathering to a close, and it will also then manifest in the next gathering. It's sort of from gathering to gathering as your power and glory manifest through our expression of your divinity, as we know that we align ourselves with the Christ consciousness. And Amen, Amen, Amen.